Ambassador Ellen Rivas stood at the podium on the bustling plaza of Vorex 9, her voice steady as she addressed the packed crowd and the dozens of live transmission feeds beaming across the galaxy. The Galactic Peace Summit was meant to be a turning point, an unprecedented gathering of rival factions, warlords, and fragile alliances, all poised on the edge of an uneasy truce. Ellen had spent years brokering deals, navigating xenopolitics, and pushing humanity's voice to the forefront of interstellar diplomacy. She was the face of Earth's hope, a beacon of reason in a chaotic universe. Today, she declared, her clear blue eyes sweeping over the diverse assembly, we choose peace over conflict, cooperation over destruction. Together, we can forge a future where no species lives in fear of extinction. A ripple of applause washed through the crowd. The press crews broadcast her words live to billions, their faces etched with a cautious optimism. But beneath the surface, tensions simmered. Not all wanted peace. Unseen, in the shadows above the assembly, a figure waited, silent, unmoving, eyes locked on the ambassador. The sniper's rifle was a masterpiece of alien engineering, equipped with a silencer that rendered its shots near silent and near invisible, calibrated for a single, deadly purpose. Seconds before the shot, the assassin's mind was calm, detached. This was a mission, not a statement, though the ripple effects would echo across the stars. The target was Ellen Rivas. The rifle's finger tightened, a whisper of a sound. A tiny crack was lost in the murmur of the crowd. Ellen's eyes fluttered, her speech cutting off mid-sentence. She clutched her chest, the crimson spreading rapidly beneath her hand. The plaza erupted. Screams, shouts, and confusion shattered the once hushed assembly. Security scrambled to the stage, but the sniper was gone, slipping through the chaos like a shadow. Evacuate the ambassador, now! A guard barked, his voice hoarse with urgency. But it was too late. Ellen's legs buckled and she collapsed, the life draining from her gaze. Her last public words were lost to the roar of panic. Across the galaxy, every news feed cut into emergency broadcasts. The headline flashed in countless languages: Human ambassador assassinated at Galactic Summit. In the war rooms of alien empires, commanders cursed. The Krith Dominion, a brutal militaristic power with a reputation for ruthless tactics, celebrated. They claimed responsibility through an anonymous channel. We sent a message to humanity, their spokesperson announced coldly. Their meddling ends here. Meanwhile, on Earth, the newsrooms buzzed with shock and outrage. But when the government spoke, their response was unlike any other species. President Leora Chen appeared on every screen, her expression unreadable. Her voice was measured, almost eerily calm. We grieve the loss of Ambassador Rivas. She was a champion of peace, and her death is a tragedy. We will seek justice. But for now, Earth calls for calm and reflection. No rash actions will be taken. Our response will be deliberate. Across the globe and beyond, the silence that followed was deafening. Military analysts and political pundits scrambled to interpret the message behind the quiet. Was it weakness, patience, or something far more dangerous? In the shadowy corridors of Earth's deepest command centers, the truth was far darker and more promising. A plan was unfolding, one decades in the making. The galaxy had underestimated humanity's capacity for restraint and retribution. The sniper's bullet had been fired, but the real war was only beginning. In the darkest room of the Omega Division's secret headquarters, Commander Adra Hale listened to the live feed with cold eyes. They think this silence means fear, she murmured to no one. They have no idea. Outside, the stars shimmered indifferently, unaware that humanity's quiet fury was already lighting a path toward reckoning. The Galactic Council chambers on Eric's Prime buzzed with frantic whispers and sharp accusations. Screens circled the massive oval table, replaying the assassination again and again. Alien delegates wore faces twisted with shock, anger, and disbelief. The Krith Dominion's ambassador sat with a smug coldness, dismissing protests with a flick. of his clawed hand. This was not a state operation, he insisted, voice slick with practiced denial. A rogue agent acting against our orders. But few believed him. The calculated precision, the political timing, and the sniper's disappearance all pointed to something far more sinister. Earth, however, remained an enigma. Despite the summit's collapse and the outrage sweeping through the galaxy, Earth's response was silence. No fleets mobilized, no fleets bombarded enemy planets, no fiery speeches promising revenge. On Earth's surface, cities paused as screens, relayed the grim news, but instead of panic, a strange stillness settled. In government offices, leaders met in secret, poring over encrypted reports and strategic simulations. President Leora Chen sat at the head of a conference table, flanked by the top minds of Earth's military, intelligence, and diplomacy. We will not be baited into a reckless war, she said firmly. The galaxy expects outrage. Instead, we give them patience. Let them think we are weak. That is our advantage. Her words stirred unease among the generals, who bristled at the lack of immediate retaliation. Admiral Riker Kane, commander of Earth's Pacific Fleet, was the first to speak. Madam President, with all due respect, their arrogance will grow. We risk losing control if we don't strike back decisively. Leora's eyes were steel. Control is an illusion, Admiral. We are planting seeds of fear and respect. The real response will be far beyond anything they expect. Meanwhile, across the void of space, the Krith Dominion reveled in what they believed was a crippling blow. Their media portrayed the assassination as a masterstroke, a signal that humanity's rise was fragile and vulnerable. The Krith High Command tightened their grip on their territories, expecting Earth to crumble into chaos or lash out wildly. But Earth was preparing, in silence. Deep beneath the surface of Luna City, in a cavernous underground base known only as Omega Station, Commander Adra Hale studied satellite feeds and intercepted communications. Her eyes were cold and calculating, a product of countless covert missions and battles fought in the shadows. She was a ghost, a weapon forged in the fires of humanity's darkest wars. They think this will break us, she muttered, fingers tracing the layout of the Krith's command centers on a holographic map. They don't understand how far we've come. Omega Division had been humanity's secret response to centuries of galactic hostility, a specially trained and augmented unit capable of extraordinary feats. Adra's own enhancements made her faster, stronger, and smarter than any alien soldier she had ever faced, but it was her unwavering resolve that made her deadly. Command, she said, activating a secure channel. The assassin is their weakness. We take him, but we do not stop there. The reply was terse. Understood. Awaiting your signal. Back, in the Galactic Council chambers, rumors spread of a mysterious vessel, Earth's old warship, the Gravedigger, seen entering the outskirts of Krith space. Thought lost in the Orion uprisings decades ago, it was a ghost from humanity's violent past. The mere presence of the Gravedigger sent ripples through Krith ranks, sowing doubt and fear. What could Earth be planning? Despite their bravado, the Krith leaders exchanged uneasy glances. They had gambled on humanity's weakness and lost. Across the galaxy, every faction watched with bated breath. The message was clear. Humanity had not responded with fury, but with something far more dangerous. Calm that promised the coming storm. Krith Prime's sprawling capital city, Varkish, lay shrouded beneath a thick, toxic haze. Its towering spires scraped the sky like jagged teeth, and neon signs flickered amidst the gloom. The streets thrummed with a nervous energy. Military, patrols multiplied, checkpoints sprang up, and whispered rumors ran like wildfire through the crowded markets and cramped alleys. No one could ignore the shadow that had fallen over their world. Amid the chaos, a solitary figure moved like a ghost. Commander, Adra Hale stepped from the shadows of a darkened alleyway, her sleek black armor blending seamlessly with the night. Every motion was precise, measured, a predator stalking in enemy territory. Her mission was simple but perilous. Find the assassin who had killed Ambassador Ellen Rivas, and bring him to Earth for judgment. But the task was nearly impossible. The Krith assassin was a phantom, slippery, ruthless, and deeply embedded within the city's underworld. Adra's helmet was off now, revealing her sharp features and ice-blue eyes, hardened by years of conflict. She scanned the crowded streets, noting the heavy presence of Krith soldiers, security drones, and informants. "Comm, status," she whispered into her wrist comm link. "Clear so far," came the low reply from Lieutenant Marcus Vell back on, the Gravedigger. "But sensors show increased patrols near your location. They're hunting." "Let them come," Adra muttered. "I'm ready." Her boots barely made a sound as she slipped through narrow side alleys, avoiding surveillance, cameras with practiced ease. Every step brought her closer to the assassin's last known location, a dilapidated warehouse on the city's outskirts. Inside the warehouse, a grimy room buzzed with the low hum of illegal tech and whispered conversations. Shadows clung to the walls, hiding secrets and danger alike. Adra crouched behind a stack of crates, observing. She spotted the assassin, tall, cloaked, his face hidden beneath a mask crafted from shimmering black scales. The man spoke in a harsh, guttural tongue, giving orders to a group of armed mercenaries. Adra's pulse quickened. This was the moment. Silently, she drew her compact energy pistol and aimed for the assassin's head. But before she could fire, a sharp clang echoed. A mercenary had spotted her. "Intruder!" the man shouted, drawing a plasma rifle. Chaos erupted. Adra moved like lightning, dodging bursts of energy and returning fire with deadly accuracy. Her training took over, a deadly dance of precision and survival. Within moments, the mercenaries lay disabled or unconscious, but the assassin vanished into a hidden passage beneath the floor. Without hesitation, Adra pursued him through narrow tunnels and dark corridors, the air thick with dust and tension. The assassin's footsteps echoed ahead, swift and silent. Finally, in a small chamber lit by flickering red lights, they faced each other. The assassin pulled back his mask, revealing a scarred face and eyes burning with cold hatred. "You will not take me," he hissed, lunging with a razor-sharp blade. Adra met his attack with a parry, countering with a swift strike to his ribs. They fought fiercely, a brutal clash of skill and will. In a final move, Adra disarmed him and pressed her. "Pistol to his temple, it's over," she said quietly. "You're coming with me." As she secured the assassin, alarms blared throughout the city. Krith forces were converging fast, alerted by the firefight. Adra activated her comm. "Extraction needed. Priority Alpha." "Hold your position," Marcus's voice came through. "We're en route." Minutes felt like hours as Adra waited, blending into the shadows with her captive. Then the familiar roar of the Gravedigger's dropship cut through the night sky. The ramp lowered, and Adra slipped inside, the doors sealing behind her just as Krith soldiers burst into the alleyway. Back aboard the Gravedigger, Adra stood before the ship's command console, the assassin secured in a reinforced containment unit. "This is only the beginning," she told Marcus, her voice steely. "The galaxy will learn what happens when they threaten humanity." Outside, through the viewport, Krith Prime's capital receded into the distance, a city held hostage by fear and uncertainty, and humanity's quiet storm was just gathering strength. The hum of the Gravedigger's engines was a cold comfort as it slipped away from Krith Prime's atmosphere. Inside the ship, the atmosphere was tense. Commander Adra Hale stood rigid beside the containment unit holding the captured assassin. The man's eyes burned with defiance, but the steel cuffs suppressed his movement. "Who sent you?" "Adra," demanded, voice low and unyielding. The assassin's lips curled into a bitter smile. "You think capturing me will end this? We are many. You are blinded by arrogance. The galaxy will never bow to humans." Adra's gaze didn't waver. "We will see who bows first." Across the galaxy, news of the Gravedigger's strike and the capture spread like wildfire. The Krith Dominion seethed with rage and disbelief, their military forced to reckon with a new reality. Humanity was no longer the fractured pacifist species many had dismissed. In the Galactic Council chambers, the atmosphere was thick with outrage and fear. Representatives argued vehemently over how to respond. The Krith ambassador demanded immediate retaliation. "This is an act of war," he shouted, pounding his fist on the table. "Humanity has crossed the line." Others urged caution, fearing an all-out conflict that could consume countless worlds. Yet a consensus was clear. The fragile peace had shattered. On Earth, President Leora Chen met with her closest advisors in a secure chamber. The world's eyes were on her, waiting for a sign of humanity's next move. "We have delivered our message," she said calmly. "Now we prepare for whatever comes next. Our strength lies in unity and resolve." She paused, letting the weight of her words settle. "We will not be the galaxy's victims. We will be its reckoning." Back on the Gravedigger, Adra received encrypted intelligence updates. Reports of increased military movements, sabotage attempts on Earth's supply lines, and covert operations targeting human allies. "The Krith and their sympathizers are mobilizing," Marcus Vell warned. "We must be ready." Adra nodded. "This isn't just about revenge, it's about survival." She turned to the assassin, who remained silent, his hatred palpable. "We will bring you to trial," she said, "and the truth will be exposed." Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected multiple incoming vessels, Krith strike fighters fast and deadly, cutting through space with hostile intent. "Enemy ships approaching fast," Marcus reported. "They've tracked us." Adra's eyes narrowed. "Battle stations, prepare to defend." The Gravedigger shuddered as energy blasts raked its hull. The calm before had vanished, replaced by the brutal reality of war. As the Gravedigger engaged in a fierce firefight, the galaxy watched and waited. The actions of one species had sparked a conflict that threatened to engulf them all, but humanity stood ready, silent, strong, and unbroken. The void of space stretched cold and endless, punctuated only by distant stars twinkling indifferently to the turmoil brewing beneath them. Somewhere at the outer edge of Krith Dominion space, an anomaly appeared, a dark silhouette emerging from the rippling folds of a slipstream. No warning, no transponder, no communication. The ship moved deliberately, slow but unyielding. Its immense form eclipsed the tiny scout ships dispatched to investigate. The name Gravedigger was whispered by veterans in command centers across the galaxy, a ghost from humanity's violent past, thought lost in the fires of the Orion uprisings, scrapped after decades of peace. But here it was, a nightmare reborn. In the Krith High Command orbital station, alarms blared as the scanners detected the incoming vessel. "Unknown craft approaching at sublight velocity," the lead officer shouted, hands flying over holographic controls. No identification signals, no response to hails. Admiral Kresh, a towering figure in the alien military with eyes like burning coals, slammed his fist on the table. "Prepare. Interceptors. Scramble the fleet. Destroy it if necessary." Outside the station's observation window, the Krith fleet scrambled into formation. Dozens of sleek, razor-edged ships accelerated toward the Gravedigger, their weapons primed. But the Gravedigger made no move to engage. It held position, ominous and silent, like a predator waiting patiently for its prey. Far away on Earth, in Omega Station's control room, Commander Adra Hale watched the live feed with a cold smile. "They remember the Gravedigger," she said quietly, fingers tapping rhythmically on the console. "They feared its return. That means we're already winning." Her voice was steady, but beneath it lay a simmering fire, a fierce determination that had driven her through every impossible mission. "The ship is not just a relic," she continued. "It's a symbol. The last thing the Krith want to see, after killing our ambassador." Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Marcus Vell, nodded grimly. "It'll shake them to their core." Back on Krith Prime, panic began to ripple through the civilian population. News feeds buzzed with speculation about the warship's purpose. Military propagandists struggled to maintain calm, but fear was infectious. "What is Earth preparing?" murmured the citizens in crowded plazas and cramped quarters. "Is this the beginning of war?" Yet no one could answer. The Gravedigger remained motionless in orbit, a shadow looming over the planet. The Krith fleet attempted cautious maneuvers, probing the ship's defenses with energy pulses and scanning beams. The Gravedigger absorbed it all, its hull unmarked, its shields seemingly impenetrable. Then, without warning, the warship opened fire. Not on cities, not on population centers, but on Krith orbital defense platforms. A barrage of kinetic rods slammed into the space stations with relentless precision, vaporizing targets in brilliant streaks of destruction. The platforms exploded in cascades of fire and debris, sending shockwaves rippling through the atmosphere. The Krith Navy responded with volleys of plasma and missiles, but the Gravediggers' defenses swallowed the assault like a black hole. In the High Command War Room, dread replaced anger. Admiral Kresh's face twisted into a grimace. "This is not an attack," he spat. "It's a warning." He turned to his officers. "Stand down the fleet. We negotiate. Now." On the warships, bridge. A calm voice filled the command console speakers. "This is Commander Adra Hale of Earth's Omega Division. We come for justice. Surrender the assassin who killed Ambassador Rivas. Refuse, and you will lose everything." The message was clear, direct, and unyielding. Back on Earth, President Leora Chen watched the broadcast in a private chamber, flanked by her closest advisors. "The galaxy thought we would crumble," she said softly. "Instead, we show them how far we have come." As the Gravedigger loomed in silent menace, the galaxy realized a new power had awakened. A power born from loss, sharpened by patience, and tempered by an unbreakable will. Humanity was no longer the underdog. It was the shadow in the dark. The silence that hung over Krith Prime was shattered by a sudden, ruthless barrage. From the looming silhouette of the Gravedigger in orbit, a new weapon was unleashed. Kinetic rods, stripped of atmosphere, slicing through space like deadly spears of pure momentum. They struck the orbital defense platforms without warning or hesitation. Explosions erupted across the stations, massive fireballs blossoming in the vacuum. Shrapnel and debris rained downward, igniting secondary blasts and sending fragments hurtling into the planet's upper atmosphere. The Gravediggers' assault was surgical, a cold, precise operation designed to cripple defenses, not to kill civilians. Inside the command room of Krith Prime's orbital station, alarms screamed, flashing red across consoles. Officers scrambled desperately to respond, but their weapon systems were overwhelmed. Lieutenant Krell, breath ragged, barked orders to his crew. "Return fire. Focus on the Gravedigger's weapon arrays. Bring it down." Missiles launched. Plasma. Cannons fired. But the Gravedigger was a fortress. Its shields shimmered like an unbreakable wall, absorbing everything. "Shields holding steady," came the measured voice of the ship's tactical officer. "All incoming fire neutralized." Admiral Kresh's face twisted with frustration and fear. "Pull back the fleet," he ordered. "We cannot match that firepower." Down on the surface, panic gripped the cities. News broadcasts interrupted, programming with grainy footage of the destruction in orbit. Citizens stared in disbelief as their planet's protectors were reduced to flaming wreckage. Yet the Gravedigger did not attack the population centers. No orbital bombardments. No devastation rained down on civilian districts. It was a calculated display, a warning delivered with devastating clarity. On board the Gravedigger, Commander Adra Hale stood silent on the command bridge, eyes locked on the tactical displays. Her voice was calm, resolute. "We are not here to slaughter innocents. This is a message to those who would threaten peace through violence. The Krith must understand the cost of their arrogance." She turned to her second-in-command. "Prepare for Phase 2. We will take the fight directly to their heart." As the smoke cleared from the orbital battlefield, the Krith military scrambled to regroup, but the damage was done. Krith Prime's defenses were fractured. Communications were disrupted. The fleet was forced into a defensive posture. Fear began to spread through the ranks, whispered fears of an unstoppable force bearing down on them. In the Galactic Council chambers, shock gave way to grim calculation. Representatives from various species exchanged worried glances. The message from Earth was unambiguous. Humanity was no longer willing to tolerate attacks on its people. On Earth, President Leora Chen received reports of the gravedigger's strike with an unreadable expression. She turned to her advisors. This is only the beginning. We will be patient, but we will be relentless. Meanwhile, in the shadows of Krith Prime's capital, Commander Adra Hale prepared for the next move. Her mission was clear: capture the assassin who had ignited this conflict. But more than that, she was here to remind the galaxy why humanity would never be cowed. As the gravedigger cast its long shadow over Krith Prime, the galaxy's fragile peace shattered irrevocably. The war had begun, not with fire and fury, but with a silent, deadly promise. The battle in the void had ended, but the war was far from over. The gravedigger's shields flickered under the strain, but the ship's advanced systems held. Commander Adra Hale's calm voice echoed through the ship's corridors, rallying her crew. We survived their first strike, she said. Now we hit back, harder and smarter. Back on Krith Prime, the fallout from the gravedigger's assault and Adra's daring infiltration sent ripples through the political and military establishment. The Krith High Command convened emergency war councils, desperate to stem the tide of human defiance. Their spies reported increased sabotage on vital supply lines, coordinated attacks on communication hubs, and the mysterious disappearance of key officers. It's a shadow war, Admiral Kresh growled. Humans fight with ghosts and fire. We must counterstrike. Deep within Krith Prime's underworld, a network of informants, mercenaries, and hackers waged covert battles. Adra's capture of the assassin had exposed a web of conspiracies reaching far beyond the Krith Dominion, alliances with corrupt galactic corporations, rogue factions, and underground militias. On board the gravedigger, Adra studied decrypted communications. This war is not just about revenge, she said to Marcus. It's about dismantling the system that bred our enemies. We must target the roots, not just the branches. They planned surgical strikes against key infrastructure, factories producing advanced weaponry, encrypted data centers controlling propaganda, and secret bases sheltering insurgents. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council struggled to maintain order. Several species called for intervention, while others debated neutrality. Amid the political chaos, Earth quietly expanded its diplomatic reach, forging new alliances with species previously hesitant to engage. We fight not just for ourselves, President Leora Chen declared, but for the future of peace and freedom across the stars. But with every strike, the Krith Dominion retaliated with brutal efficiency. Assassinations, cyber warfare, and propaganda designed to fracture human morale. Adra understood the stakes. This isn't just a war of weapons, she said. It's a war of shadows. As the conflict escalated, whispers spread of a secret weapon, an ancient technology hidden deep within the Krith homeworld that could change the balance of power forever. Adra's mission evolved. Find the weapon, destroy it, before the galaxy burned. The gravedigger plunged deeper into enemy territory. Its crew braced for the storm ahead. Humanity's quiet storm had become a raging tempest, and the galaxy would never be the same. The shadowed core of Krith Prime's underground cavern pulsed with ominous energy. Ancient runes etched into the walls glowed faintly, a testament to forgotten technologies and forgotten wars. The air was thick with dust and anticipation. This was the vault of the secret weapon, the key to the Dominion's survival or annihilation. Commander. Adra Hale led a small strike team through the labyrinthine tunnels, each step measured, every sensor alert. The gravedigger hung in orbit above, ready to pull them out or rain destruction if needed. Stay sharp, Adra whispered into her comm. We don't know what traps await. Deep inside, they found it, a massive crystalline structure humming, with power tethered to the planet's core. The weapon was unlike anything in the galaxy, a planet-scale energy converter capable of generating devastating pulses strong enough to disable entire fleets or even fracture planetary crusts. This could level entire star systems, Marcus Vell muttered, eyes wide. Adra's jaw tightened. If the Krith activate this, they'll destroy us all. We end this now. As they prepared to plant charges, alarms blared. Krith forces had found them. A fierce firefight erupted, echoing through the tunnels. Laser bolts ricocheted off walls, and the air was thick with the acrid scent of ozone and sweat. Adra moved with lethal precision, covering her team, pushing forward despite mounting odds. The weight of their mission pressed on every fiber of her being. Meanwhile, in orbit, the Gravedigger faced an onslaught. Krith capital ships descended in waves, firing everything they had. Adra's voice crackled over the comm. "All units, hold position. I'm almost done down here." On the bridge, Marcus relayed commands with steely resolve. "Shields holding, at 60%. We can't take much more." Back underground, the team reached the weapon's core. Adra set the charges, her hands steady despite the chaos. "Time to go," she ordered, but the assassin she had captured earlier appeared, flanked by elite guards. "You won't destroy our legacy," he sneered, drawing his blade. Adra faced him once more, a battle waged not just with weapons but with the fate of worlds hanging in the balance. Above, the Gravedigger unleashed its final volley, breaking through the enemy line. The warship's towering silhouette blazed with renewed fury. "Charges set," Adra reported breathlessly. "Extraction now." The team raced back through collapsing tunnels as the charges detonated, the cavern shaking with violent energy. They burst into the extraction zone just as the warship's ramp closed. The Gravedigger surged away from Krith. Prime, the planet's surface trembling as the weapon's power shattered. In the aftermath, the Galactic Council convened once more. The Krith Dominion, weakened and exposed, faced demands for peace and reparations. Humanity had shown the galaxy its true strength, not through reckless war, but through resilience, strategy, and unyielding resolve. President Leora Chen addressed the Council. "Let this be a warning to all who threaten peace. Humanity will not be silenced, and we will fight to protect what is ours." As stars shimmered across the void, the Gravedigger sailed home, carrying more than just a victory. It carried a new era, a testament to humanity's rise, a promise that the galaxy would never underestimate Earth again.